Okay, let's go ahead and get started with Q&A. This is your chance to ask any questions you have about the course or running your business in general. So let's go ahead and get started here.
Sounds great. It's actually pretty funny when we first talk because you're almost answering all my questions, but not quite. So it's like I'm not sure if you can hear me or not. It's pretty impressive that you're able to do it without actually hearing me. It's like
Oh,
pre-recorded, but like right on right on topic. Yeah.
this is pre-recorded actually.
Oh my God! Don't do that because I'm gonna believe you.
Cool,
Um,
cool. How's it
how's
going today?
Good, thank you. And how's the family? How's
Good,
the
good, good.
baby?
Yeah, we just had another baby on Sunday, so just adjusting.
Congratulations.
Thanks. Yeah, it's been a fun experience. It's different because I mean I have like this is like four now, so it's like you get used to all the surprises and then there's new ones, but it's a fun time.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Oh, congratulations. And are you getting some sleep?
Enough.
Enough.
I mean, yeah. One thing I was saying to one of my buddies earlier is there's four pillars of recovery. There's eating well and drinking well, there's thinking well, and there's moving well, and
Yeah.
the last is sleeping well. But if you hit just two of those per day, you're in a good spot. So
Okay.
sleeping well, not really, but I got like my water over here. I have, I was doing some meditation, so I'm in a good spot.
That's good. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. Two out of four there. Yeah. The power of thought for sure.
Yeah. So how about
Yeah.
yourself?
I'm good. I'm good. Slowly moving forward, but I am pretty part-time on this at this point, so I'm trying to not be too difficult on myself. But really the biggest part for me is the niche audience, the niche target audience, so like my niche. And I think my audience right now is way too broad. So as I was moving through the course, it just like it didn't feel good. Like it didn't feel like I was gaining confidence. It felt like I was gaining more like blurriness.
Hmm.
And I think it's because I'm like, oh, I could do this and I could do that and maybe this. So I'm still in that phase. I feel like I haven't committed to an audience yet. And so I was wondering if maybe we can take some time if you can help me think through it, basically.
Yeah, you make a really good point because in the beginning of the course, we're going after clarity, right? What do you do? Who
Right.
do you do it for? And you might have a loose idea, but as you go deeper into creating content and offers for that
Yes.
audience, you're like, well, shoot, that wasn't really that clear. And that's when it can become frustrating because, that's when it's really obvious that you need to hone in a bit more.
That's exactly right. I was like, I think this is good enough. Like, I don't want to stall. Like, let's keep going. And then that's exactly right. When I went to start creating content, I'm like, I'm diluting it because then I create a bit of content for this audience, a bit of content for that audience, but this audience might not really jive with that content. So it's like, it might end up being counterproductive.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So do me a favor, just
Yeah.
refresh my memory and anyone else who might be tuning in. What do you do? Who do you do it for? And then we'll get clearer on even what that means.
Sounds good. So basically, right now, my initial offering is I help managers and analysts communicate the insights behind their data so they can take the best decision for their business, make the best decision for their business. And it's pretty broad.
Well, I
uh,
mean, it's specific what you do, but what audience do you want to do it for? That's where you're
Yeah,
stuck.
so yeah, exactly. That's pretty much where I'm stuck. And as I've been going through and reading things and kind of working through it, I think my focus is really managers, kind of the group that's stuck in the middle, like trying to get buy-in from their team and trying to get approval from their senior folks, right?
Hmm.
So as opposed to like I am kind of coming in as the analytical team, so my audience would be more the managers, and I think that's the audience I have the most empathy for because they're juggling a lot of things at the same time, and they're getting they're trying to convince an audience, but they're not able to. Like, they're the ones that really need to convince an audience. They're the ones that need to convince their seniors to release budget, or to say, okay, go ahead, bid at that price, or, you know, whichever it is. But so I am honing it in on managers. And then the industry, my background is in the renewable energy industry, but I do want to diversify from that. So I'm like, okay, maybe I start there. But no, I'm not super excited about starting there. So I'm like, okay, maybe that's not a good idea then. So, but I'm thinking, trying to, like, I'm like, this is amazing. I get to choose what I want to do, right? So I'm trying to be like, okay, what would I want to do? And I'm like, generally small enterprises really interest me, because to them, there's more at stake, right? So my ideal customer values the ability to communicate the insight behind their data. They're not just doing it because they're supposed to do it, or because they've invested in the data. It's because the decision is going to impact their business. They want to de-risk that decision. They want to look at their data so then they can say, well, you know, my gut says this, the data says this, like, let's go for it. As opposed to, oh, we looked at the data, it says this, but maybe we'll go with this initiative, maybe we won't, right? So then I'm like, okay, maybe I'll hone into the size of the enterprise as opposed to the industry.
Mm-hmm.
But then that still doesn't really get me to who am I stalking online, basically,
Yeah.
right? Like, who's, like, I use LinkedIn a lot. So am I looking for industry? Am I looking for titles? Am I looking for, basically, it didn't really, like, I still haven't come to the place where I'm like, okay, like, I know who I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Who do I want to work with? Like, I get to choose. Yeah.
Yeah. What I'm doing, like, over here secretly is I'm looking at Tableau, and I'm
Okay.
wondering what kind of community Tableau has. I'm looking even at what, like, industries and verticals they're talking about, because
Okay.
Tableau being
Yeah.
a data viz you know, platform is where I would start. So
Right.
I'm literally looking for, like, the Tableau community right now, because that's where I would go. If
Okay.
there's a Reddit channel for Tableau, I would go in there. I would even go on Quora and just type in the word
Yeah.
Tableau and see what conversations are being had around
Okay.
that. Because when you're in a niche industry, there's a benefit there. And right now we're talking about data viz. You can just go there and see who's asking these questions. I think your intuition is absolutely correct, where you're saying it's going to be people who have trouble convincing decision makers to move forward, because they're like, hey, don't give me all these numbers and stuff, just show me a cool chart. I think that makes a lot of sense. And I see that Tableau has a conference, a free conference, November 9th through 12th. I would definitely sign up for that
Okay.
as well. And yeah, it literally says, like, unrivaled community. So there's a lot of information about, like, the Tableau community here. I would tap into that, and
Okay.
from there get clarity. Now, in regards to industries, I think we're already leaning towards tech, right? You said renewable energy, I believe. I think it is. It can be tech companies in general. I know on my end, when I used a tool like this, it was at a digital marketing company. So I think even that's a good fit. And
Right.
like, if one thing we did was we mashed up one data source versus another. So, like, Amex data versus, like, it could be like first party data or another resource to, like, just make a better profile of our target audience. And I'll just give you a backstory.
Yeah,
I
that'd
was
be
doing
awesome.
this. I was doing this for a company that sold prepaid cell phones. And
Okay.
my assumption was people that buy prepaid cell phones didn't have good credit, didn't have a lot of money, and that's why they were buying prepaid cell phones. This was like 5 years ago. Looking at the data from Amex, as well as Data Logic and a few other sources we saw, they actually had really good traffic credit. They traveled internationally, they traveled business class, they had high income. And what we determined later was these people, they weren't buying, like, burner phones, because they were buying these phones online, by the way, not like at a grocery store. They were
Okay.
buying secondary phones, maybe for themselves or for their children. So that completely changed the way this company would market to this audience. And we used Tableau to compare the audience that bought versus all these other data sources and saw where they indexed higher or lower. So this is at a digital marketing company, right? Because they're
Mm-hmm.
selling online audiences. So I think anyone who understands tech and the need for data to help drive decisions is a good fit. Anyone you have to convince that they need to use data viz, and forget it. Like
Yeah.
I'm not gonna
Yeah.
fight that battle with you.
Yeah.
But that's where I would go. And again, just kind of looking at Tableau's website and their upcoming speakers for their conference, you can kind of get an idea of what's once you get the actual topics they're speaking at, you can kind of get an idea of what's a hot button topic for their audience as well.
Yeah. Hmm.
So yeah, I think you're very close because like when I'm thinking
Okay.
about content, it could be like, hey, you know what it's like when you're trying to like describe a complex outcome to an audience who will barely give you a minute to explain it. It's
Yeah.
super frustrating, and that's when data comes in handy. Big is
Data
good,
viz.
small is bad. There you go. Right. So like tell a story,
Yeah.
or like, have you ever had a boss tell you to explain it to them like they're a fifth grader, but you still couldn't make sense of it? What you need is to be able to visualize this data,
Yeah.
so on and so forth. Another post is like, have you ever, been tempted to write your reports in crayon just so they'd be understood better?
Mm.
That's pretty much what we're doing here with data viz, so on and so forth. Um, Another one is like, you could have the best ideas trapped inside of your head, but if you can't convince stakeholders to understand that and take action, you'll never reach your full potential at your company. That's why
Mm-hmm.
I help people express their thoughts, opinions, and expertise through data viz and make it more digestible to those who are not experts at understanding what you're talking about. Like I'm kind of making this up as I go along, obviously, but
Yeah, no, this is great. Yeah.
yeah,
I see, like I get it, and like I see what you're saying, and like yeah, just like literally I've seen one of my bosses before running after his boss as the boss was like going in the elevator to leave for the day, running after him with
yeah,
my chart, being like, okay. And his boss stopped and was like, and listened for that minute or two.
yeah,
But it's something they had been talking about forever, but like just having the data viz actually allows you to kind of get on a common platform with the decision makers, right? So
yeah,
the
yeah,
running
uh,
after the elevator, I think itself is a pretty strong
yeah.
relatable viz. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I like that. And I've seen this before. I can't remember if you said it or someone else, but it's like companies are drowning in data, but they're thirsty for insights.
that's right. Yeah.
And I think that can be like one of your core messages. Like you have all
Yeah.
this data, but it's like you can't even get any information out of it because
Yeah.
of the way it's so dispersed and just like not organized. And that's what I do. I mean, I turn data into insights and insights into action. That's another term you could use as well when you're
Right.
more or less selling that story. But yeah, that's it. It's just committing to that audience, that manager, that
Yeah.
whatever individual has challenges expressing information to stakeholders, whether it be business partners, internal, could be even investors, to be honest,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
yeah, if I'm like pitching someone to invest in my company and they're like, wait, what's the size of the market versus that, you can say, look, we mashed up this and that. That's why this is good. Like this part is our opportunity. If we hit that, we're good. So
Yeah. That's
so I think even
exactly
like
it.
startups that we might be pitching could be a potential audience as well.
Yeah. That's one of my questions in the surveys, and the survey I'm putting together now is, who do you have trouble convincing? That your boss, your team, your investors, your customers? Sometimes you can help convince your customer that way, right? Like,
Yeah.
and yeah.
What I you can consider is this. There are some people that specialize in making pitch decks for startups. Like, so just like literally Google like pitch deck startup creator or whatever the term would
Yeah.
be. And you could reach out to them and just say like, are you seeing challenges of people expressing, their market size versus what they can do? Would it be valuable for you to bring on a
Yeah.
database partner? Can I just, can we talk for a little bit about this? Because maybe you can insert yourself in this pitch deck creator person
Yeah.
into their company or whatever they're doing, and therefore just work as a contractor through them.
Yeah, totally. That's really neat, actually. I like that idea very much. Yeah.
Yeah, because you could charge a lot for those. I mean, because if you're pitching and you might win like get like a $500,000 or $1 million, $2 million investment,
Yeah.
you'll pay $50,000 for a deck.
Yeah,
So
that's right. There
it's
is
a good
money in
investment.
that pool. Yeah. That's pretty cool. Okay. Well, thank you very much. This is very
Yeah,
helpful. Yeah. It is very, very helpful.
yeah. I mean, you're definitely onto something. So and it's gonna take time, but once you like hit it, you're gonna be like, okay, cool. Like now I have a few clients, and now they're spreading the word to their colleagues and their network as
Yeah.
well, and you'll grow that way. But and just I keep on talking about Tableau. Do you use Tableau in your
Yes, I
work?
do.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I really, really enjoy Tableau. It's super powerful. Like I find Excel is really a lot easier for analyzing and doing some quick tests on
Mhm.
hypotheses. But when you actually want to kind of you know what you're going for and want to show it, and you know how you want to divide it, Tableau is extremely powerful. Like things that are you can do in Excel as a workaround is kind of very user friendly in Tableau. Basically, is kind of how I see it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at I'm looking at Tableau's LinkedIn profile right now,
Yeah.
and they have like 6,000 employees. What I would do is look for some employees from Tableau that post quite often and have a following, and then from
Right.
there I would start interacting with their content and their followers too. So anyone who's following a database platform, in this case Tableau, and people that from their company they're talking about it quite often, maybe they're head of product or whatever, keep on engaging with their content as well as the people that engage with their content, because that's your target audience. And
Yeah.
you'll build a relationship with that person posting and or the person commenting on them. And then from there you keep on growing your brand, your network, and eventually your revenue. So I would do that as well.
Okay.
Lots of homework.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, I need to kind of go out in public that I'm starting something myself, which also means I have to uh, quit my current job. So that's also like I'm doing as much lonely work as you call it and
Yeah.
background lurking as I can. And the more I do it, the more it emphasizes that that's what I want to do. And there are days where I'm like, let me just look on Indeed.com, LinkedIn.com, see what other data viz opportunities there are. And I'm like, yeah, but no, I want to go and do it myself, right?
That's
So it
awesome.
just, yeah, I need to kind of bite that bullet and take that leap. Yeah,
Let's do
great.
it safely. Because I know
Yeah,
you have a family to support.
that's exactly right. And I'm on mat leave right now, which is great. Like the Quebec government helps out quite a bit, so it's really a good time to do this. So I want to make the most of it. Yeah.
Cool. Well, get to work on that. And if you have more questions, you know where to find me. But pass along an update too. Love to hear how things are continuing to progress.
Absolutely. Yeah, sounds good. I did send you a LinkedIn message updating, and I my partner and I read the big like listen to the Big Leap.
Oh yeah,
It
yeah. You
was
mentioned that.
one of
Sorry.
your recommendations. It's such an amazing book. So thank you
Oh,
for
good
that
to hear.
recommendation. Yeah, it's very applicable. Like you can, kind of on the day-to-day check in and make sure you're living to your fullest potential on everything you do, basically.
Awesome. Glad to hear you
Yeah.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I'll let you get back to it, but it was great chatting with you as always.
Awesome.
Take
Same
care.
here, Terry. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Talk soon. Bye.